What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Burn Down podcast. Today's guests, we have a father and a son duo. You may have seen one of the guys. He's been in The Sopranos. He's been Sammy the Bull Gravano in the Gotti movie with John Travolta. He's also mostly popularly known for the Gravesend, producer, creator, and director of Gravesend, with his son Cristian, up-and-coming actor, look almost identical. We have William and Cristian DeMeo. What's going on, gentlemen? Thank you for coming in the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Hey.
we appreciate it. We're happy to be here. Thank you so much.
All the way from Brooklyn.
Well, they came from the Poconos today. I mean, that was a hell of a drive. I mean, when he told me, he's like, yeah, we're driving. Where are they from? Brooklyn. Oh, where are you guys driving from? Poconos. I'm like, Poconos? Jeez. So you guys made a trek, and we appreciate you making the trek to us here in...
You needed some solitude, some peace and quiet to get the third season up and running.
Well, the writing, that's where we like to write there.
Do you write it all yourself? You and your son?
Yeah, well, we do, and we defer to different people sometimes, but mainly, yes. We work on it together, and I defer to him a lot for the younger perspective sometimes. But yeah, we're I love it. I enjoy the writing the most out of anything. That's my biggest passion out of all the hats. The writing is, to me, the one I love the most.
Do you have a setup on how you go about writing? Like, I know some people will sit, in a corner with a cup of coffee. Some people go outside. Do you sit down with a cigar, like a glass of wine, or do you have like a thing that you do when you're about to sit down and write?
I do that sometimes, but a lot of times, I'll be driving and I'll be someplace and I'll be
Things just come to you.
yeah things come to me and I'll record it or write it down. A lot of times, things just come to me.
Yeah.
Do you ever pull off to the side of the road like, shit, I got an idea and I gotta, or use you speak into your phone or something?
Yeah, yes, I do. But I feel like it once you get in a real groove, and all writers know, like when you're really moving it, it's like there's no better feeling when you're in a complete flow.
It's like the floodgates open and you can't stop it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you tried, just
That's a great feeling.
and
feeling.
I imagine that doesn't happen too often, does it? Like when you really get into that flow, is it few and far between, or is it a common thing?
I gotta say, thank God it does happen.
It does. Okay.
It does happen when the thing is that we have a lot going on because we're also involved in production and acting and a lot of different variables. So when we're fully on writing and the phone is off and it's just about that, it really kind of comes. It really comes in a way. I try to think outside the box as much as I can. I got a really good compliment from someone that I want to mention, who I looked up to for so long, who's also from Brooklyn, and a friend of mine who was one of the writers of The Sopranos, and who's a brilliant writer, wrote Wolf of Wall Street. Terrence Winter, who's from Brooklyn as well, from Marine Park area, and when he had seen some of the shows, he was nice enough to call me, and he said, you took a genre that's been done so many times, and there's always going to be similarities, like there are in a lot of different things. You're always going to see social clubs, and you're always going to see things that we've seen before. But he said you took something that's been there and you put your own taste on it, and it flowed in a way that was really, he gave me the words, like he really liked how I formatted it and how I gave it its own identity, even though we've seen that. And that's what people need to understand. Like, there's always going to be like horror movies, there's always going to be westerns, there's always going to be romantic comedies, but they're going to have similarities, but you got to try to find and try to think outside the box as much as you can. But sometimes people are like, we've seen it, but like, you can't also, if you change it to a way where it's not realistic because you're trying to stay away from some of the cliches, that make it work, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna turn this into something that it's not.
Sure.
And when people, I can imagine that a compliment like that is probably the best compliment that you can get, because you're not changing the main, body of the style of what you're directing. There's like like you said, there's certain things that you shouldn't change, because then you're the people that want to come and see that style of movie, if you remove those things, you're like, well, that's not the movie that I came to see. But if you keep those in there, but add your own flavor on top of it, then it's not just like every other movie.
No, exactly.
That's that style,
And to get a comp from a guy like that,
yeah, it must be nice.
who's brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
that movie, Wolf of Wall Street, was a brilliant
that
movie.
script, and he wrote a lot of The Sopranos, and he's also a great guy, and he did the show Vinyl. He's amazing. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I really appreciate that coming from him. And another person who gave me a big compliment, that's another writer that I want to throw out there, that is Nick Pileggi, who wrote Goodfellas.
Oh,
My
wow.
favorite movie.
Wow. Okay.
My favorite movie of all
time. When
time.
Nick first seen Gravesend, he had said, "What?" He goes, "You're doing it." He goes, "You're doing it." He goes, He goes, "A lot of people talk about it, but you're
about
it all
it."
in there.
Those are some big movies to get compliments from those guys.
Absolutely.
That probably felt pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm humble about it all. It's nice when you work hard to have people that you look up to. It's even the same when I work with these cast members that are in our show, and I'm working and I'm directing an Amanda Sante, who's brilliant, and I'm directing a Chaz Palminteri and an Andrew Dice Clay, and Sophia Milos, and a Fran Drescher, and like Mario Cantone, and I'm working with people who I admire so much. William Forsythe, who I always bring back to the Out for Justice. When everybody see Richie, he played Richie. That's a movie about Brooklyn. Do you ever see that movie?
No, I don't think so.
You guys got to watch
What's
that.
it called?
Movie.
Out for Justice?
Yeah, with Steven Seagal.
No.
I have
and
not.
there's a
I'll be honest,
famous
I haven't
line
seen too many
throughout the whole
Seagals.
movie.
It's called Out for Justice?
Yeah, there's a famous line throughout the movie. Anybody see Richie? Just Steven Seagal keeps saying this, and like all the people that are watching this now that know this are gonna say, "Well, of course, you guys gotta know that." And he played the character Richie, William Forsythe.
Okay.
Was a great actor. Who played Sammy the Bull in the John Gotti movie with Armand Asante.
Now,
You know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine it's probably a weird feeling when you got all these guys that you had said, you had looked up to, right? Early on in your career, you're watching some of these guys, and now they're in your show, and you're directing them, and they're not taking orders, but for lack of a better term, taking orders, and you're telling them what to do, and you're like, I looked up to you, and now now you're listening, you're coming to me for like directive.
The thing is, for me as a director, I always give the actor range. We always have discussions, and if they come up with something that, or say it a different way that kind of works for what we're doing, I'm fine with it. On the Sopranos,
because you want to give them a little bit of flexibility
on the Sopranos,
to make it
you
their
weren't
own.
allowed to change one word.
Really?
Yeah.
No one was allowed to change one word.
So no.
The only one I think who maybe had liberty to do that, from what I understand, was James Gandolfini. And the reason I bring this up is because I'm very close with Tony Darrow, who's another great actor. And
I've actually met him before.
Yeah, and at one time, and who's also on our show, who's a dear friend of mine as well, he had changed a line, and David was like, don't say it. And like David was a little upset with him.
I met Tony Darrow.
Don't change the fucking line.
And I also understand David's point as well. So I'm not saying, like, everyone has their own take on things. Some people want it exactly the way it is, and that's understandable because it's what they wrote and it's
what they envisioned.
They want it like that, and you have to respect them. But sometimes maybe the writer missed, it could be said a little bit different, and maybe they missed it a little bit. So, I'm always open to discussion about that.
Now, when you guys are working together, do you guys ever butt heads with your dad? Like, Dad, this is the way it should be.
A little bit. Well, I have a very keen eye on detail. I notice like a lot of the technical things.
Okay.
So maybe a little bit, but you know what? The thing about this project is that no one knows this show better than the both of us, because we see it on the page. And to go back to the writer's room, right? it's like we know the story so well, and to see it, something that's written, and then to see it come to life, it's
bizarre.
It's yeah, exactly. Like
It's like art, it's like, what is it? Life imitating art in a sense, right? Because you're kind of like writing it down.
As you're writing it, you're like envisioning certain things and how which location are we gonna get? How is this actor gonna deliver this line? And then to see it on film, it's something pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, I can imagine that's such a weird. I don't want to say weird, but it's such a beautiful thing when. Because all it is it goes.
Yeah.
So if you think about the process, it's just wild how it goes from just a picture in your brain, right? It's just something that was in between your ears that you came up with, and you put it down on paper, and then now you see it come to life, and you go, "This is what was in my brain, a year ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. This is just an idea that I created. I put it down on paper, and now here it is in the real world for everybody to see." And it just came from a thought, like an idea. Like for us, I can relate to the blueprint, right? When we came out with the cigar, it was just an idea in our head, and now here it is, and we're holding it. It's such a beautiful thing.
Absolutely,
to be able
it shows
to
that
see
you
that.
guys are go-getters, that you made it happen. So you came up with. You're sitting here for a reason because you made it happen. But there's a lot of people that want to do things or talk about doing things, and it doesn't happen. They don't take the steps. With experience of being a writer and directing the same thing, with experience of doing this for so long, is that I literally know what it's gonna. Because I'm directing it as well, right? So I'm writing, and I know how it's gonna be. Like I literally, it's like I know what it's gonna look like.
You've already seen it up here.
I know the location. Yeah. I know the location because I write for locations I know a lot of times too. And if I don't, I kind of have an idea. And as I'm writing, I know where the camera's gonna start and stuff like that. In a way, it's like kind of it really what experience. And I always say that there's no better experience, and I know there's acting classes and there's going to film school, but the best experience you get is doing it, watching it, being on sets like The Sopranos,
in the field,
being on sets like Analyze That, and watching Robert De Niro in front of me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and being directed by Harold
Ramis.
Ramis.
What was your nickname? I forgot you had a nickname.
Al Pacino.
That's right. Yes, yeah, Al Pacino. That's what it was.
And De Niro said you look like Carol Burnett, which was one of the funniest lines in the movie.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's something that he said. What I like that you said that you can take all the classes that you want, and you can, to extend that, you can read all the books that you want, you can watch all of the videos that you want, but nothing will replace the experience of actually doing it and going out and failing miserably and learning and then failing again and then learning. Because you can have all these people that say, "Oh, I have a great idea.
Sounds like Christian's got a story to tell.
I know how to do this. I know how to do that. I've seen all the movie. I've read all the books. I've studied. Yeah, but did you actually do it? No. Okay, well, then you don't know shit. Get out there, do it, because I guarantee all that shit that you read about and all that stuff that you think that you know, you're going to fail at it. But that's the only way that you're really going to gain the experience to get better at it.
And you know what's crazy is that when you get negativity, I want to touch on this, and there's people that have something negative to say about what people are doing. And when you do something, you're subject to have criticism. Mm-hmm. It's part of life. And you have to have thick skin to know that this is going to happen. But if you really think about it, I don't know how someone could actually sit there and know and maybe not fathom the process, the amount of hours, the amount of thought, the amount of struggle it takes for someone, even a baseball player or whoever it is, because we're so eager to, and these guys are getting paid big money, so they're going to get booed, right? But if they really think about what that person, in any way, fashion, or what they're doing, the sacrifice they put in to do that, and it's so easy for someone to say, "You suck."
Yes.
How about you, the person that's saying you suck? Why don't you do something so we could say you suck? But
Absolutely.
You know what?
They won't.
Everyone in this room wouldn't say that.
No
because
doubt.
we don't believe in using those words even. because we see what someone's doing and they're taking initiative to do something. So I just wanted to touch on that for a second, because it's so easy for people to say, "Oh, this sucks, that sucks, it ain't as good as." Why don't you do it?
Yeah.
The only reason they're saying that is
if you got
because
more credit, if this is Scorsese saying it, okay,
yeah, different story.
you know what I'm saying. But
But that's the
Scorsese
guy.
wouldn't say that.
guy.
You know what's funny is that
Because Scorsese wouldn't say that. Because I met Scorsese through my good friend Bo Dietl, and a man like Scorsese said, "I heard such great things about your show. I'm proud of the show." You know what I'm saying? So that's and those are the people you want to be around. People, and that's what I always say about hiring people that have more credits or more experience, like that maybe could shine more. You want everyone to shine. They make you better.
No, 100%.
you got to be around people that bring you up and not put you down. You know, and there's a reason why all the people, like you said, Scorsese, he wouldn't be somebody to bring you down. There's a reason why he's in the position that he's in. He's as successful as he is because he's one of those people that brings people up with him.
Exactly.
Right? I think Chaz Palminteri had said it on his, I think he said it on his podcast, or could have been another podcast, but he was saying that you can only bring somebody up if they want to come up, right? But you can bring somebody down that doesn't want to come down. It's like if you're around a bunch of people, they can bring you down. But if you're around a bunch of people that are up and you want to go up, they can pull you back up. He's like, so best be around the people that want to bring you up, because you'll come up with them, instead of being around a bunch of people that want to bring you down. Because you'll fall. It's so much easier. They'll just pull you down. It's like crabs in a bucket, right? They'll just keep fucking pulling you down.
And I don't think it's better than anyone to have in your corner than your son or your father. Like, because from what I see, you guys are like best friends. I would almost say you guys are almost like brothers.
Yeah.
How did you guys develop such a close bond?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because I've been on set ever since I can remember. Through him, and it was always as a young boy, it was always so interesting to me. Going to a movie set, seeing all these cameras and the whole process. And there's always something that intrigued me, and it was like a fantasy. You don't really know how to comprehend something like that at a young age. But as I got older, most parents, they encourage their children to go to school, get an education. I have to say that he always encouraged me to follow your dreams. Follow your dreams. Do what you want to do. And I was in college for a little while, and he was one of the people that said, if you really want to do this, because I was flirting around with it before, I did a few films, but I was still thinking like I would love to be an actor, but is it like realistic? Is this really what I want to do? And in my heart it was, but he always encouraged me and said, if this is what you want, if this really is what you want to do, then you have to go after it full force, and there is no backup plan. There's no backup plan.
Yeah.
That's it.
There is no plan B. You just got to figure out how to make plan A work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The thing is that when you bring it up that we're together a lot, which I'm grateful for, is that the process to do what we're doing, it's a show. It's not just a one movie. So it's a 24/7 type of an endeavor. And a lot of times I listen to Sylvester Stallone. I watched his documentary. Another guy I look up to and I was able to meet, who I look up to very much. I got so inspired by his movie Rocky.
It's one of the best.
That's an incredible story too.
Probably one of the greatest movies ever made. And I watched his documentary, and he said how he missed a lot of things with his family. That man went from movie to movie to movie to movie and became a big star and a big success story. But I was listening to him as in his older age now, and he was talking about how he missed a lot of things with his kids and a lot of stuff that he wasn't able to be around because of all the movies he was doing, and he's a dedicated man to his craft, and he writes as well a lot of his stuff. And the one thing that I have is that I get to spend time with my son through this process. So,
that's a beautiful thing.
It's a thing that, like, I'm doing this, and I don't know if I really could even probably do what I'm doing with this particular project if I didn't have my son with me, because we're bonding like and working together at something so hard, and it's nice that I'm being able to spend the time with my son that I would be missing, because I'm if anyone knows me personally knows I don't play around, bro. Like, I work, I go, I do everything, and I always follow. We got to get to the finish line. We don't start something and don't finish it. We have to keep going. And
a dream is only a dream until it becomes a reality. And the truth is, the dream isn't going to come to you. You have to make that dream become a reality. And I could have never learned what I know in regard to film, going to film school. Like, what I know right now, I could have never learned just doing that. I mean, it's been an education that you just can't you can't find anywhere else but like living through it.
Yeah,
you know,
you learn through the experience.
You learn
it's
through
like the school of hard knocks. You know,
you learn through the experience.
Figure it out.
And our experience with Gravesend, I have to say, has been so wonderful, because like our whole cast, like everybody pretty much for the most part, like are the main people, like, you know, Chris Mamando and Bruce Sosha and Big Time Tommy and everyone that's in our cast, Vic DiBitetto, we all bond. Armando Sante, like I said, we have Peter Gordio, Leo Rossi, Bo Dietl, Chuck Zito. I mean, like, we're all together. Like, and that bringing up Chuck Zito, like Chuck Zito, to have Chuck Zito, one of the toughest men around, giving someone a beating in our show. When I was writing, I said, you know what? I got to show Chuck in action. Everyone knows about Chuck, who's a great guy, by the way, and I love Chuck.
So you wrote in the scene for him?
Yeah.
He beats the shit out of
He's like,
a couple guys.
I gotta see.
But
more than a couple guys, you remember? So there was just a whole bunch of these guys around him.
It was like 5 guys.
Yes,
right?
5 guys, and he's looking at all of them, and they goes, you know, there's 5 of us, and he goes,
You're gonna need more.
yeah, you should have bought more people. So, and that's the real Chuck Zito.
You know what scene I really like? You know, talking about like father and son. You know, I always grew up. My dad. Growing up, I always listened to 60s, 70s, 80s, and I always hated it until I moved away. I lived in Atlanta for a little bit, and that's all I listened to, and it, you know, resonated with me a lot of all those old songs. But one song in particular was always "Cats in the Cradle." My dad's like, you know what the song means? You know, it's about a father and a son. And I was like, all right, Dad, sure. And yeah, okay. Then as I got older, I actually listened to it, and I was like, you know, this is a very, you know, it's a good song about a father and a son growing up, and it's a life. And then you have that one scene where it's like going back. It's like black and white, and you're thinking about your father, and it's Cats in the Cradle. And I was like, wow, that's like exactly how I would imagine it.
Well, it's funny because when we were, because after the next process is post production, and I'm very involved in the music, and I have some great people that do the music with me. And if they see the scene before, the character that Louis Lombardi plays, Tommaso, Benny and Tommaso, are talking about his father being sick, who's another great actor and another good friend of mine, Louis Lombardi. And we're talking, and it's very emotional. We're talking about our fathers, and then he comes back home and he thinks back about his father. And I was like, this song has got to go in there.
Perfect. It's
just so you guys know, that song ain't cheap.
I was just going to ask,
just so you know, like, that.
So yeah, you have to.
Are there certain? Sorry, Eric. Are there certain like when you said you're writing, you're going through this process, and you've already seen, you know, what the outcome is going to be. You've already seen it in your head. When you're directing, you're like, yeah, I already seen this. I know what's going to happen. I know where the camera's going. I know this because I've already basically played that in my head. Does that same feeling come with the music when you're writing it? You're like, I already know what songs come out of this.
Yes and no. Yes, there's certain scenes where there's certain songs, like you remember the end of the montage of the last episode when that song Brooklyn Roads comes by Neil Diamond? If you remember, it sums up the whole end of the show.
Second season? Or
yes,
the first?
That last
okay.
song, like, that song had to go in the show. Like, there was no. But sometimes there's some episodes that I write with a song in mind that we're gonna use that song. But sometimes, based on how much the songs cost and the record labels, we have to flip flop some certain songs. In a
I never
way,
thought. I guess I
sometimes.
never thought.
You got to pay for the rights to
Yeah, you
use
got to
it.
pay.
Yeah.
You know, I guess you got to.
You can't just go to YouTube Sound Library.
Yeah, you can't just screen
pick some, pick some free
People don't
songs.
understand
Although I'm sure you might have.
how. See, so today that's where the artists make their most money, and the record labels is on when you get the rights to the music.
Is it a one-time fee that you have to pay, or do you have to pay like royalties every time it's played?
No, you have to pay a publishing fee and a master fee, so the writers get it, and the record and then you get to. So the way it works is that, let's say the song plays in episode 1, and in 3 minutes into episode 1, and it's 1 minute and 16 seconds. You buy that time.
So you don't buy the whole song, you buy the 1 minute 16.
You buy the time, and then you can't use it again. You can't reuse that song.
Pay it again if you.
So
want
if you were to use it again in like in episode 7, you have to tell them I want 1 and 7.
You can't do that unless you contracted.
Well, if you contracted
okay.
it, so like if you were to go and say, listen, I'm going to use this song 3 times in 3 episodes, they make a contract for you to use it 3 times.
You're paying more money.
And you're paying more money.
What was great is
all these little ins
that,
and outs.
I'll
man.
tell you
See?
another story that people don't
Gotta
know.
get them on YouTube Studio.
Maybe a couple of people heard this story, but is we met Frankie Valli.
You met Frankie Valli.
Yeah, no, Frankie Valli.
Oh
he
my
liked the
goodness.
show. And he was, and we're going to use Frankie Valli in season 3.
No.
Right? He's going to be in the show as well. He's
It's
a
like one of
legend.
my favorite groups.
And we I got to say something about that man is that he gave me his word. He said, I'll work something out with you for some of the music. And he talked to the record label, and they gave us a better.
That's huge.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's huge.
At that Frankie Valli music.
Oh, the best.
We have Oh What a Night.
The best.
That's a fantastic.
Shout out to Frankie Valli.
Dude.
Yeah, shout out to Frankie Valli is right.
Yeah,
That's one. That's
That
I
was
love-
one of the first songs.
love that group.
I was like going back to what I was saying. I was getting brainwashed with all these songs, and I'm like, Mom, Dad, turn this off. I remember being in my apartment and Sherry was playing. Like it just came on, and I was like, damn, am I getting emotional right now? Do I think about my family with this song?
Is that so? I wonder if that story is true. Where you've seen Jersey Boys, you've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
And you see when what's his name? Bob Gaudio. When he's on the bus and he's late for the rehearsal, and he's writing a song, and he hears like the tune, the honk, and he puts it in the music. Oh, Sherry, you heard? I wonder if that story's true. About he was writing a song and heard a sound from a horn somewhere, and was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good. Let me put that in."
I would think so.
Because that's a cool little. I mean,
I would like to think
if
that's
it
true.
wasn't true and they wrote it into the movie, I'm like, that's
another side.
a really
note on
cool little
Frankie
thing.
Valli is when I met Frankie Valli, he said he wanted to be an actor, right? So he wanted to be an actor more than anything.
And you're making that dream come true.
Yeah, well, yes. Again, well, he's been in other stuff too.
been in The
but
Sopranos.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
but he wasn't getting breaks as an actor. So he started doing music because he felt like it, which is still very hard, but he said he felt like he could break in doing music. It wasn't meant to be. He wanted to act. He didn't want to do this, but he did
I guess
it well.
it was his plan B, Christian.
And
well, no, this is just a different avenue to get to acting.
exactly.
You know?
Teasing.
and that's what he did.
Now,
So
how
he's
did
a
you
passion.
start? Now, how did you get into the path that now you are now? Like, how did you always want to act? Was your first appearance in Bronx Tale? Was that it? The very first?
Yeah.
So, like, what was your journey like getting into acting, getting into movies? Like, where did that come from? Did you have a different plan? Did you want to be like a plumber or something, and that changed, or?
So, I was hanging out in Brooklyn. Always, I had, some of my own businesses. I was in a vending business. I had vending machines and stuff like that, and I was really trying to find my way. And Robert De Niro, I had heard that De Niro was doing Bronx Tale, and someone I knew someone who knew the casting people, and Clem Caserta, who plays Jimmy Whispers. He was kind of involved in the movie, and he had met me, and he says, I'm going to get you, a meeting, and I just winded up like I was just an extra. I just went there. I had always thought about like being an actor, but I was still kind of finding like what I really wanted to do. I was like, I knew that I wanted to have my own business. Like I always made my money my own way. And I'm on set and I'm like a kid in a candy store because I'm seeing all the old cars and the props and I'm like, and it's in Astoria.
Yeah.
It's in Astoria. And Robert De Niro comes over. They make an announcement. There was maybe about 30 stickball kids. And they said everyone line up against the wall, and Robert De Niro walks over. So this was for a scene, right? And 30 people line up against the wall, and De Niro picked me. He picked me. I was the first one he picked, and he picked my friend Peter Gordio, who's in the show.
Yeah,
we've been friends ever since. And another friend of mine, Lenny, who's another actor. But they picked us all three of us, just three guys,
just random.
The next thing you know, like I want you to think about this for a second, right? So I'm a kid. I'm a young kid, and I'm on set, and I don't know zero, nothing, no acting class, no nothing.
And you're a young kid at this point.
Nothing. Never did anything in my life, and I'm on set, and the next thing you know, I'm in a hair and makeup trailer, and I'm getting my hair and makeup done for a scene, and I go to the street I go to the corner. And Robert De Niro, guys, this is exactly the way he said it. He goes, a car's going to pull up. A whole bunch of girls are in this convertible car in the beginning of the movie. That song, I wonder why. And the song's playing to get everyone into the motion of what's going on. And then it shuts off. And he says, guys, he goes just like this. You three guys are on a corner. Just start talking to these girls. Just pick them up. Hey, girl, blah, blah, blah. He goes, just improvise how you're picking up girls
just
on
flirt
the
with them a little bit.
And I'm just doing it, and I'm doing it. And then I see the camera coming around. We're going to do this car. I don't know. And then in between every set, boom, 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 makeup on. Like they're coming over. I'm like
what the heck is going on?
And Robert De Niro, Robert De Niro,
yeah,
is directing me. He's like, guys, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God.
Like, is this really happening? Am I in a dream right now?
Like, literally, guys, I'm telling you, like, it's something, and now I'm talking about it again because we get away from it sometimes, but like, the energy that went through my body was like, this is like something that, like, I felt like finally something that I really wanted to inspire to do, like, hit me.
It was a feeling that came over you. You're like, this is right. This is what I'm here to do.
I was like, this is something that I just was. And then I'm getting my SAG card. I get to join the union. I don't even know what SAG is. I don't even know what the union is. I had lines in a movie. You know.
Yeah, you were just told flirt with some girls. All right, I can do that. No problem. I got it.
So now I go home. I had a convertible Eldorado.
Smoke break.
Hold on. We got to make sure.
By the way, great cigar.
You like it? Thank you very much,
Christian. Appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Guys, these cigars are great.
We'll send you home with a bunch. So
yeah, we'll send you
Thank
some.
you. I love it. So I had a convertible Eldorado, and me and my friend Lenny, he had a couple lines in it with me. I'm driving home. My music's blasting. I remember I'm playing Barry White. Can't get enough of your love.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking
Convertible tops down.
Just loving life.
Driving back to Brooklyn. I got the Kujleen. I got the Kujleen. I'm over there.
Yeah.
Arm out.
That seat's way back. He's just hanging.
Blue Eldorado with white seats. I'm driving home. I go right into the house. I go, Mom, Dad, I told my parents, I go, I'm going to be an actor. I'm an actor. They're like, what? I go, I'm going to be an actor. I'm telling you, I'm going to be an actor. They're like, now remember, this is like, my family didn't know anything about any of this. I didn't come from the arts or anything like that.
They're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm like, I'm going to be an actor.
Go back to work.
Right? I'm going to be an actor. And you know what's so funny, bro? It's like, you got to make, so when anyone says they're an actor or they say anything, like, no one believes it. Like at the time, I'm just going back to the early parts. I would tell people, "Hey, but I'm gonna be in that movie. I'm gonna be in that movie." And like, you know, I was excited. You know, when I didn't know like you could get cut it out and stuff like that. I'm in it. And like no, oh yeah, they just know me as Willie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and people were like, "You really?" I'm like, guys, watch when it comes out. And then it came out, but it was so short. But you
were still in it.
And yes, exactly. And you had two people. This is what we go back to the last part.
Mm-hmm.
You had two types of people. There's two types of people out there. There's the people that say, I know it was short, but I'm proud of you and you could do great. Who say, I got up to go to the bathroom and I missed you. You get the people that got.
You're in it for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Fuck those
So
people.
you got to get those. So you get those two things in your brain, and you're like the people that said, I got up to go to the bathroom and you were gone. I'm like, well, I'll show you next time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but the people that said, that's great, man. I know I could see you doing more. Those are the people that like, you remember that.
Of course.
And I remembered when I was first starting, I don't forget all these things. It's like, I'm glad we're doing this now because a lot of stuff's going through my brain here. And I remember when I started, like, and I had hardly any credits. I did the movie Hackers with Angelina Jolie. I had a little part with Angelina Jolie in the movie Hackers. And I was getting out there a little bit, but still people were like putting up my headshot in like stores. Like, this is early on, and like delis were putting up my headshot, and like people were like, a lot of people. That's why I have a love for my neighborhood, because a lot of people embraced me. And
they built you up. They
a lot of people embraced me and said, you know what, man, I'll never forget. There was this hair salon that they had on the corner, and the guy took a picture of me and put me up on the awning. And this is early on. Like, I had a few credits. I did like New York Undercover. Like, I had a few lines and stuff like that. And it felt so good to have the support like that.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's fun because there's, like you said, there's two types of people. Those that are going to build you up and those going to break you down. The ones that are going to break you down they're just pissed off at their own life because they've never done anything, so they want to bring misery loves company, right? So the people that are, oh yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, I missed your part because it was so short. Like, all right, well, fuck you then. You know, I don't want to talk.
You were in the bed. You were watching me.
You know, but then you got the people that are like, you know what? Even though it was a short, you said that you were going to be in the movie, and you were in the fucking movie. So I'm proud of you for doing that. And
No,
like, I want those
exactly.
people around me. I don't want the other people, because there's a lot of people that are going to say some shit, and they're going to try. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't. I actually had this one kid ask me. I was in down Texas for Thanksgiving, where my wife is from, and there was one of her nephews was asking me about the YouTube and stuff, and he's like, I want to get into YouTube and I want to do this and do that. I said, you should do it, man. Just do it. He's like, yeah, I know, but my friends are like, they say like I can't do it and I shouldn't do it. And I go, listen. He goes, don't. I'm gonna say something. I went to her mom. I'm like, can I curse? I don't want to swear. She's like, I'm like, all right, I'll edit it out. It's like, don't give a fudge what any of your friends say. He's like, yeah, but I want to do it to kind of prove them wrong. I'm like, hold on a second. I said, don't do it to prove them wrong. I said, do it to prove yourself right. I said, because when you're up there and you have a successful channel and you're successful whatever, they're not going to be there, man. You're not going to go back to them and say, yeah, I proved you wrong. You're just going to know that you proved yourself right. It's like, it'll be much stronger force knowing that I'm going to prove myself right. I don't give a shit when anybody else says that I can't do this, or no, you weren't in that movie. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. That was, fuck them all. You know what you're going to do. Like you said, I'm going to be in this fucking movie and nobody's going to believe me. No, you're not going to be in it. You're not going to be in it. No, I'm going to be in it. I don't care what you think. I know what I think, and I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be in this fucking movie. I don't care if it's for 1 second or 1 hour, but I'm in it.
I will say this. Going back to what you were saying, when you were coming up, you were doing this. When I started watching Gravesend for the first time, you have a very distinct voice, right? I'm like, this voice sounds very familiar. So I obviously had to do a Google, and I was right, because when I was younger, I used to play Xbox, and I played this game called Mafia, and you were one of the characters in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew that was him.
That was a lot of fun.
I was like, holy shit.
That was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun.
Just recording voiceovers of a...
Yeah, it was
so funny. It was
always
like,
would comment on his stuff. Paulie.
Oh my God.
I love doing that. That was a highlight of my life. I love doing that. Watching a game character, playing me.
So, do you remember any of the lines? Remember any of like iconic lines that happened?
That was like
early 2000s. I think.
Like 2001.
It was Xbox just came out.
Jeez.
Yeah. Like, get the car, do this. Like, it was fun. And it's funny because the other character was played by Michael Servino, Paul Servino's son. Played the other guy with me. I played Paulie, and what was his character's name? I gotta remember that. I gotta actually go back to that. And
there was some of the Sopranos guys that we just had on. One of them was in that video game too. I forgot which one. We just recently had Dan Grimaldi,
Jason
Cerboni, and
Robert Ferraro.
Robert Fernaro. One of them was in that. I remember seeing it on Wikipedia. It said video games. I'm like, video games?
Really?
It said, yeah. I don't remember. I forgot which.
I don't think it was mine. I think it was the one after.
Maybe it was Mafia 2 or something. Maybe a spin-off. But I remember seeing it. I was like, that must have been cool.
I remember watching the show, and I'm like, I feel like I've heard this voice once before.
Crazy,
and once I go, I'm
that's
like,
funny.
Was in Wikipedia, I'm like, I fucking knew it. He was the guy in Mafia. Oh my God,
and then when I did the movie Wannabes, which built a very big fan base, and I had Joe Vitarelli, Jelly, in the movie with me, and Joe D'Onofrio again, and we had so much fun shooting that in the neighborhood that I grew up in. It was like that. That was like kind of one of the first movies that I did. I co-directed it with my friend Charles Adesi, and it was just, and that's why I felt like when it came to Gravesend that I wanted to tell the story about how special it was at that time to grow up where we come from, what it was like. I mean, I keep saying it, and we keep putting it on the screen, and that's the thing that I love what the fans are resonating to. But I can't tell you guys. We're talking about some of the negativity, people, but the positive parts.
Way more, right?
I go places and people say, "You brought back my childhood. You brought back when people are dancing in the street at a block party. You brought back sitting on a stoop." Like you guys, I know you guys come from the suburbs, right? You both come from the suburbs, and there's similarities, and I know Long Island isn't that far from Brooklyn, and there's definitely similarities. But when I tell you, there was no place like how we grew up. The Bronx has a taste of it, and Howard Beach, and Staten Island, but like Brooklyn was so special. Still is, but I'm saying that time, you can't. It was a capsule like of life, and that's what it is when I'm writing, guys. And you guys are younger than me, and like you get thoughts and things that happen in your life, and then 10 years later, especially like what it was like then, there was no internet. It's so, when I tell you guys, listen to me, I could see you're both old school. And Big Time Tommy always says OS for life, because it really was so special. Like, if I could flip the time, and it ain't like some older guy saying, "Oh, our time's better," because all the older people say it's better, but now the younger people are all saying, "I know it was better."
Listen,
I know it was better.
100% agreement with you.
When I tell 100%. You what it was like to like just sit on a stoop and like have 100 kids
right in the street,
being my friends, and the things we did. That like people can't even imagine. Like my boys that I grew up with, we're West Street kids. We're all the West Street boys. My kids, my friends I grew up with on the block. We were like, we played the other blocks in wiffle ball and sponge ball and playing in the streets. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was such a time, and that's what I love about making Gravesend. That's why I keep getting amped to make more, because there's a million more stories to tell. Because that's what it was like. And the old timers on the block, the old men, and everyone, every single porch. On a summer night, every single porch, every single stoop. Think about this, guys. For block after block after block after block, this community was filled with people that...
Every weekend.
Every day.
Every night.
Summer, every night. Between the lightning bugs that we would catch, and we put them in a jar.
You put them in a jar. Dude, I remember doing that.
I tell people, I'm 32, but we were the last generation before cell phones. Like
we were.
I walked everywhere. I still hung out outside. I played football in the front yard. I played baseball in the street. Played football in the street.
We used to play football in the street.
Yeah,
on the concrete.
Mailbox to mailbox. I was a touchdown.
Yeah,
and my mom was like, the mom would say, "Go out and just get dirty. Like, don't be in my house. Like, get the fuck out of here." And,
my mom would kick me out and say, "Don't come back till the street light comes on."
Playing, man.
We were playing. I remember playing. We would play. We would go to the park, and this is when I knew. Like you had said, we were the last generation, and this is when I knew that. All right, it's kind of over, and like the good old days are no longer. Right? I used to play when I was a kid. We used to play in the park. We used to go. They had the town pool. Right? Used to go to the town pool, and they had a basketball court there. They had a park, and we would play for hours all day long. We would even play, like when we started driving, we would pull our cars up because the lights would shut off, and we would put the headlights on to continue playing when we were like 16, 17. So I remember there'd be hundreds of kids lined up to play ball, right? It would be 5-on-5 basketball. They'd be playing wiffle ball over here. They'd be playing football over here, and you'd be lined up. And you'd show up with your 5 and be like, who's got next? Well, you got to wait 4 or 5 games. And you'd be playing and playing and playing. I went away to school, right? I came back that summer. I said, oh, this is going to be great. I'm like 19 years old. I was like, we're going to play some ball, right? Summer, beautiful day. It's like 80 degrees, no wind. It's not humid. It's beautiful. I go to the park. There's not a single soul in the park. And it's a Saturday afternoon, 80 degrees, and there was not a single. And I got real sad real quick because I said, that's like the end of it now.
I mean,
because they're all inside playing video games now.
Not even besides like being out in the street and playing, but like even when you go out to dinner and stuff like that, you see families. There's no conversation anymore. They got the iPads, they got the phone.
I saw a family the other day.
It drives me nuts.
Right next to us, there was a husband and a wife, and they had 2 little daughters, and both of the daughters had headphones in with the iPad, and the husband and wife weren't even talking. They were just sitting there. I said, "What are you doing?"
It really is. It's really. It's crazy. It's crazy how it changed like that.
Right.
And what's crazy is back then, punishment was staying inside. Now
punishment was I got my ass kicked. That's a punishment.
I got the wooden spoon.
And now, if you're telling the kid to stay in, going outside is punishment. They'd rather be in playing with their on their video games or playing with their they'd rather be doing that.
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't keep us in the house.
No, you couldn't.
We were out all night. You came home. Certain your
street light came on. You better be home.
Yeah, I mean, my brothers and I would say, let's see who we can piss off mom most with all the grass stains in our jeans. She'd be like, man. I would have like my jeans would be covered in green, and then my brother would be like, oh, dude, mom's gonna fucking kill me.
Yeah, man. I remember we used to play football when it would snow. We used to play football in the street because the street before the plows would come, right? The snowstorm would be happening, and you get 6, 7, 8 inches on the ground, so it would cover the street. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Because we didn't really have big enough yards to play, so we just had the street. So we played football in the street, and we would play tackle because we're fucking stupid, and we would tackle each other in the snow. But you land on 8 inches of fresh snow, it's fine. But every once in a while, you'd find that hard spot where the snow's kind of cleared out, and you'd be like, bang, you hit your knee, and it's like all bloodied up. You're like, fuck it, keep going, let's play, man. Exactly. Screw it, man. Are you broke? Is it broken? No, we're playing.
And we had a strip. There's a documentary I have that I've coming out that I've been working on for a while of a strip called 86th Street that was underneath the trains, the trestle. It's where Saturday Night Fever, where John Travolta walked with the paint can. Mm-hmm. To Lenny's Pizza, which unfortunately just closed.
I saw that.
In our show. But that strip, it would take you half an hour just to go 1 block down that strip, and there would be thousands of people
just hanging out.
Well, every single car was gleaming. Beautiful car spokes and tinted windows and music. Every system was louder than the other. And it was insane. Like, you can't ever imagine, like how I wish I could just snap my fingers and it be there again, because there was nothing. And everyone that's listening to me that knows this experience will agree. There was nothing like it. Like, it was like you heard the train up on top of you, people everywhere in the streets, talking, girls, this, that, guys, everyone hanging out. Everyone looked good. Everyone had jewelry on. Everyone was dressed nice. Everyone smelled nice. Everyone looked good. And the music, it was unbelievable. Now, people don't even care. They roll out. They come outside.
Oh, my God. Don't even get me started with that.
No, let's not get you started.
Oh, my gosh. The people that just roll out of bed and they're like, yeah, I'm at Delta Airlines. I'm like, the fuck are you doing? You're wearing, like, slippers.
Pajama pants.
At least take a shower, okay? You don't have to put on a suit, but, like, look presentable.
We were out not too long ago. We were at a place in Florida, as a matter of fact, and I was kind of surprised because it was in like the boat, and it was the younger kids were out. It was like we were out. We happened to be someplace. I was, and Tommy, me and Big Time Tommy were together that night. You were there that night, remember? And when I tell you, like, the whole, I'm like, how is no one like dressed like no one's even like this is nightlife? Yeah, like. what's going on here? Like, you just come out like this? Like I'm just
I see it a lot.
Like,
you see it a lot in some restaurants too. Like what my wife and I like to go to nice restaurants, right? If I'm going out for dinner, I want to go to a nice place, okay? So we'll go out, and you don't have to dress in a full freaking suit, okay? But look presentable, right? Put on a nice pair of shoes, nice pair of jeans, maybe a sweater, okay? Put on a nice watch. You go, she's gonna put on a nice dress, whatever. But you'll show up. I'm showing up to some of these restaurants that are high-end restaurants, right? $150 a head, $200 a head, like nice restaurants. And there's people in like sweatpants. I go, dude, it's a Friday night, 8 o'clock, and there's like nice music going on, and you're in like slides and a pair of sweatpants.
Take that hat off.
Like, what do you?
Yeah, out 2 years ago.
Exactly. Hats too, and I got a hat at the dinner table. I'm like, the fuck, what is happening to our world? What's going on to this younger generation? They just have no sense of.
Christian's one of the last ones on the line. He's always dressed in a
I was
nine.
just going to touch on
Yeah,
what I was going to touch on is that, you know, he has such old school traditional values. I'm so blessed that the way he is, the way he acts, and he's old school. Like and that's why he fits in with all my friends. He's part of us.
I don't think he really had a choice. I mean, I don't think he much had of a choice, you know?
He's like, all my friends, that's the best compliment you could get when they say your son is like, you know, you want your son to be, you know, and I can't say enough great things about how it's a blessing to see that he grew up this way. And there's other young kids sometimes I meet that still have that. Mm-hmm. It's their parents that usually kind of keep them old school in a way.
What do you see out there, Cristian? What is your thought on it?
I don't know. I definitely I don't understand, like, even the whole dating thing now, right? That's whole. Everyone's on online, you know, dating sites, and I was never for that. You know, I believe in an old traditional way, but I do feel like I'm very very different than my generation. Mm-hmm. You know, I just don't. I'm like the black sheep. You know,
which is not a bad thing.
You know what? I think it's a blessing to be that, because
I seen
you stand out, and I guarantee you that if you, especially in like business, or if you're trying to, you know, move forward in life, people recognize that. If you simple things, like for instance, when we recruit for our company, and we'll go to career fairs, right, where they have a bunch of students that are trying to get a job, and I can tell you within the first 10 seconds if the person even has a shot at getting a job, and it has nothing to do with the resume. It's, do you look me in the eye? Do you shake my hand and introduce yourself? Hi, my name is Justin. Nice to meet you. What's your name? It takes 5 seconds. But 95% of kids nowadays can't do that. They don't know how to do. They don't know how to shake your hand. They don't know how to say, "Hey, nice to meet you."
Very socially awkward.
They're so consumed with just. I guarantee, if I put them in another room and say, "Hey, text me," they'd have a great conversation. But they can't do it face to face.
They don't have social skills.
And it's a lost art.
And what I do for part of my business is I go into Brooklyn, I go into Queens or wherever, Westchester, and I'll walk into businesses and I'll drop off business cards, and people still look at me like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Are you not used to people walking in?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, this isn't Zoom. Like, this is how people used to do things."
Yeah, exactly.
Even so customer service now.
I had to take somebody out.
Oh my! You can't get anyone on the phone.
Forget about it, dude.
No, I talk to a fucking robot all the time. I hit 0. I heard somewhere that if you just keep hitting 0, eventually you'll get somebody. So they come on. Excuse me, sir. Can you please say a little bit more so we can find out who to put 0. And I'll sit there and I'll push 0 until the robot has no idea what to do.
I took somebody out.
1 second while we connect your call. I'm like, thank you.
But that's why you're successful, because you do that.
It makes you different. I literally today I took. There's a new guy that started here at my job, and he wanted to come out. He came from finance. He's like, you go out and like stop in business and talk to them. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's not like, this isn't Wall Street, because he's used to being on Wall Street. Like, fuck you, get out of here. I'm like, you'll see a big difference. We go out in Long Island somewhere, and we hit up like maybe like 8 spots, and he comes back and he's like, wow, that was actually not that bad. It was actually a lot more receptive than I thought. And I was like, absolutely. You know, people like people. You know, as long as you're not a scumbag, or, you know, a sleaze bag, if you come off presentable, respectable, you'll get that in most cases. You'll get, you know, if I go in Brooklyn or Queens, sometimes I get the fuck out of here, but that's a rare occasion.
Well, especially now, too, because of the whole COVID thing that happened where it shut down, you know, and people weren't experiencing that. And now everybody's so consumed with Zoom and with the internet and FaceTiming that when they see somebody in person, it's like a breath of fresh air. They go, holy shit, I can actually touch you. You're real. You're a physical being.
100%.
It's funny what you brought up too, because years ago, like right before this whole acting thing came out, of carpet cleaning business, and I had my number out there and stuff like that. And you know, when it would be slow, I would go to the avenue, I would go to places, and I'd hand my card. You know, if your carpet, you know, there's some stains on the carpet over there. You know, maybe you could get it clean. Every time, like, so whenever I was slow, I spent 1 day or 2 days going out, and I was busy for the next month. I would just go door to door.
Yeah.
Bro, door to door. Boom, boom, boom.
It's a lost art.
Yeah.
That was my first job out of college.
Super simple.
And it isn't that hard, bro.
No, it's a simple
Get up and
concept.
go, walk in. Guys, listen, maybe 5, someone's going to say yes.
Yeah.
Even when we started the clothing brand, like how this came about was that as I started to get more well known, people were asking me to wear their clothes. Like people would say, "Oh, you want to wear this? You want?" And people were sending me a lot of different things, and I was like, you know, I should do my own stuff, something that I like. And I was always, whenever I would go around, and every time I was in a store and I'd see something that said Brooklyn, I'd buy it. Brooklyn hat, Brooklyn shirt, Brooklyn sayings. I would always buy every time. Bro, if I walked into a store to buy something, no matter what I was buying, but something said Brooklyn, give me that.
Make it no. We're gonna make.
I was gonna say we're gonna come out. We're gonna come out. Burnout podcast on the back, Brooklyn.
That's it.
I would, like I said, I would always buy something that said Brooklyn on it, and I was thinking, and I know how proud Brooklyn people are, and there's so many people at one point in their life lived in Brooklyn. When I tell you, and the people know this, there's at some point, many people at one point lived sometime in Brooklyn, right? At one point. And I was like, I feel like the people from Brooklyn feel like they're a brand. They're their own. So I came up with Brooklyn Brand. And the purpose of Brooklyn Brand is you're the brand. It's not the brand itself. You're the brand. You're wearing the brand. You're the brand.
Yeah, you're part of it.
I like that.
You're the you're the
like
reason.
And that's how it came about, and that's how it started.
And you know, I have a marketing brain. I have a marketing degree, so I was the box and the design was very important. But I can say about your brand is I'm very big on, what do we call it? BDP. What do you call those?
Acronyms.
Acronyms, right? So I like that you have the two B's, and I like how they face each other. And it's easy to say it's BB, because with the cigars and our names and how we came up with everything, it always has a little story with the acronyms. So
yeah, I want to hear your story about the cigars. I know we're talking about it, and I know we're the guests, but
would you like to hear it?
Yeah, I'd like to. Why
Okay.
not?
Go ahead, Eric.
And I know people have probably heard it, but
Hey, listen.
We're proud. Just
never
like you,
turn
we're
down
proud to tell our story no matter what.
I'm proud of it. Like you'd said, when you create a vision in your brain, you can actually physically touch it now and see it.
It's amazing.
We're very proud of it. So
yeah, when we talk to guys like yourself and other people that we have on, it's like, I would never think about I'd be having conversations with professional athletes, comedians, actors, any of these people.
Wild.
And so you have a sense of pride, just like how you guys have. But the podcast started, years ago, before everyone. I always say I have a podcast before everyone and their mother started a podcast, because now there's like 5 million podcasts out there. So I became friends through my father. My father hired him years ago, and we just clicked off. He was always in 3-piece suits, smoking cigars. I was like, I like this guy's style, and
not now, of course.
Yeah, well, not now. we
it's a little bit more relaxed today, but yeah.
But my dad always had barbecues and always invite the people he worked with. So me and him started clicking, and we just became friends. And he was big into cigars, and I just started getting into cigars. And I was like, hey man, we have these social media accounts. We have a little bit of a following. Like, let's see where this goes. Let's see what we can do with this. So we started doing We started with
a magazine,
like a cigar subscription service, like a monthly subscription service. But we're in New York State. They hate tobacco. There's a lot of fees that you had to pay for that. Yeah. So then we said, well, we take all these pictures, we take all the stuff about cigars. Maybe we can compete with Cigar Aficionado. And we're like, it's the 21st century. No one reads magazines anymore.
Because we were thinking of doing a magazine with less ads. Because a lot of the magazines now just have ad after ad after ad. That's how they pay for it. We're like, maybe we could do one without ads. But then we're like, how are we going to pay for it? Because that's how you pay for it, is selling advertising space. But
so then we kind of just chilled for a little bit. But my brothers were really big into podcasts. They would watch, Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, all these guys. And I'm like, what are you guys watching? Like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's a podcast. I'm like, so these guys just talk like about whatever? And they're like, yeah. I was like, we do that all the time in a cigar lounge. Like, we just talk about anything and everything. And I said, why don't we do it? So we started it, and the words Burn Down podcast started because on Instagram I'm Brother Cigar, he's Dapper Cigar. So I said I want something with that's us.
B&D.
So B&D, Brother Cigar, Dapper Cigar, and then podcast. So BDP. So with the cigars is the same concept. I said I want to have eventually a sampler pack with 3 of our cigars, and I want it to say BDP. So the first one is the blueprint. The next one will be coming out is something with a D, and the next one will be something with a P. So that's how we formulated everything.
Because the idea, when you have it, and you'll see obviously on the label, on the label itself, you just see the big B up top. Yep. Right, so then when we have the second label, you'll see a big D, and then the third label will see a big P.
Do you have the second or third label yet?
We have the second one. Yeah, it'll come out.
We're finalizing the label, so we just took the.
Man.
So it'll be the same size, the same look as everything, except it's going to be a Connecticut wrapper. So it's going to be a mild cigar. It's probably going to start with the letter D, and instead of blue, it's going to be red. So it'll have a red label, and then the third one that we make will have either a black or a white label. And then I'll have BDP. And then on the sampler pack, you'll see it. And then if you flip over to sample pack, it'll say BDP stands for these 3 cigars, but it also stands for Burnout Podcast, which is where we started. But it's
awesome. Talk about the story.
Yeah,
Talk about the story. The
it's
journey.
Great. It's great to actually, when we first got it, I can imagine, when you first created Gravesend and season 1, then you finally see that final season, you're watching it, and you get like this chill, like this feeling throughout your body, like, holy shit. Like,
what's so crazy about that, guys, is that when we finished, the goal was for it to be like, for it to be a network show and for it to be, an HBO show, or that was the goal. But we were limited on funding to start the show. And we were able to get it out, and it came out right around COVID. And we didn't have a big marketing budget. We didn't have like that much to like market the show, and it came out, and it just literally in like a week or two, it just like everyone was talking, like it just went
viral.
Yeah, on its own.
It was also during COVID.
It was
true.
Just, it was like, and then it was trending like in the top, like #1 for a while on Amazon, and it just kept building up, and then the first and it also, because I was going to be on some podcasts and some talk shows and stuff like that, but everything was shut down. And it was right when it first happened, so I couldn't get the opportunities. But then, Elvis Duran was talking about it on Z100.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Elvis Duran, the Z Morning Zoo.
And then I went on his show, and then everything started to just, come together. And then, then we just built up a bigger cast, from Dice Clay to Chaz and all these great people that are part of the show.
My wife's best friend. My wife's best friend from college, from Diker Heights. So she came over. My wife's 4 months pregnant, so they're best friends, like do or die. She doesn't live where we live, but she's like that do or die. It's the Brooklyn blood, like it's something in there, because she is her do or die best friend. So she was over my place the other day, and I said, how you doing? This, and I said, you ever hear of the show Gravesend? She's like, oh, of course, my friends are obsessed with it. I'm like, yeah. I said, I'm having Will. She's like, oh my God, I gotta tell all my friends. I'm like, are you guys? And she's like, that's all they ever talk about. I have to tell all my friends. I'm like, all right. I said, let them know.
well, that's the thing. Like you guys said, you start something, and you watch it blossom. At first, you got to get it out, and you have to. I learned this even in my career and as an actor, and I try to tell this to young actors, because like my better days came later in life as an actor. I was working, I was getting parts and had an agent, and
you were grinding.
grinding. And a lot of the actors that I started with aren't in the business anymore. And it's a very, being an actor, and that's why there's a part of me sometimes that, but I know my son has it in him. And there's another thing that I want to say is that there's 2 points to this, but when you have it in you when you go to a set and you're like an extra, let's just say, right? And you're sitting around all day. You're sitting and holding, or this is like the very beginning stages of actors. And like I always tell people, it's not as glamorous as you think it is. There's a lot of waiting around. And the people that can sit there and wait 7, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, and then get their chance to even just be in the background behind the stars.
Yeah, not even a line.
And
just
the people that can get through that are the people that can get to the next level. That's one part of it. And the next thing is that it's a really hard, and this is just something that everything in life, there's a lot of things that are difficult, but this is like beyond difficult to get recognition and to get in movies and to be seen. And it's hard because you got to work as a waiter. You have to have a job that can let you leave. And it's the people that stay with it and follow their dream. And there was times I was in tears, like days where I was just like, yeah, shit's not happening and things ain't working out. And you're discouraged and you can't pay your rent and like you hardly have any money but you gotta just keep going. You keep going, and like, you know what I'm saying. A lot of people give up.
Yeah,
the thing is that I say is when you go through your life and you like, what if?
Yeah.
Oh,
I agree.
So
preach on this.
The what if? And there's a lot of people out there that are more talented than all of us in this room.
But they don't go for it.
That are what ifs.
I'll speak on that.
I got something to say for that too.
My father.
It's like,
go ahead. Okay. My father, he started a few businesses. We had a plumbing supply business at one point. We had a gourmet hot dog restaurant for a couple, for 5 years or so in Huntington, and I think the max for each one was like maybe 5 or 6 years. But I always asked my dad, like, was it worth what you did? Like, you had to pour your own money into it. It wasn't as successful as it was. And he said, listen, when I lay in bed, I know I just did it. Because if I had to lay in bed and said, what if I was the most successful hot dog plumbing supply guy ever? That would have killed me. He's like, I tried it. It didn't work out. And I'm still here. He's like, so whatever you do, just don't ever you don't want a what if.
No,
you can sleep better at night.
There was a quote that I had heard somewhere. I forgot who said it. Maybe I read it. But it stuck with me because it said, the greatest fear that you can have is getting to the end of your days and you're on your deathbed and you're faced with the ghosts of everything that you could have been, but you didn't because you were scared to go after it. So somebody had said, and I sat there and said, you're at the end of you're laying on your deathbed and you see the ghosts of all the things that you could have been, but you didn't. I'm like, well, shit. Now it's like, no matter whatever it is, if you want it to be this, go after it, because the worst thing that can happen is you didn't go after it, and now you come to the end of your days, you're 90 years old, and you're like, now you see the picture of what would have happened if you would have went here. Here's what you would have been if you would have went after that, but you didn't go after it.
Exactly. And the thing is that the odds are against it. If you're reaching for like high, and I'm not trying to, because it's all positivity here.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're
this
saying.
is all positivity.
It's hard to...
It's all positivity. When you're reaching for levels of whatever that may be, being a baseball player, being a guitarist, being a singer, being an actor, being a director, when you're reaching for really high levels, the odds are very against that you're going to get, but you have to swing the bat. And if you could keep swinging the bat, and you're gonna hit the ball. Eventually, you're gonna hit the ball, and then maybe you hit a single, but you still hit a single.
Yep.
You gotta keep. Like, I failed many times. With things in movies and just different things, and then learning experiences, but you just always try to get better and try to learn from your mistakes and try to do better.
Well, there's a perfect, like,
it's all about the journey, not the destination.
Perfect baseball analogy is, if you go your entire career and you're a 300 hitter, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
And you failed 70% of the time.
Think about that.
You failed. You missed and didn't hit 70% of the time, and you're still Hall of Famer. And then the other point of it that you were saying, like, listen, it's very, very difficult to get to that level of greatness. If you're trying to strive for a level of greatness, it is very difficult. The percentages are very low. However, if you don't go after it, the percentage is zero that you'll get there. Do you get what I'm saying? If you at least try, the percentage may be small, but there's still a percentage.
Exactly.
But if you don't try, it's an automatic 0. You're automatically failed if you don't try.
I remember when I was reading for Analyze That, for Roland Analyze That, and I'd known Joe Vitarelli, Jelly. Joe Vitarelli was in my movie Wannabes, and this was a Warner Brothers movie, and it was I'm sorry, it was the Analyze This was beyond successful. It went through the roof. The first movie was like as big as it could be, with Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. It was like so huge. And I remember I get my call back. I had my call back, and Harold Ramis, who was a brilliant director, one of the best. I had my call back with him, and Joe Vitarelli told me, he goes, "You're walking into Yankee Stadium right now." I'll never forget the pep talk before I walked into the building. He said, "You're walking into Yankee Stadium now, and you goes, knock 'em dead, kid, knock 'em dead." And I remember walking up the stairs and like going in the elevator and just getting, and there's a point here that broke the ice for me in a way, right? So here I am, and I'm sitting, and all actors do this, especially on their callback. Like all actors look at the room and see who's
sizing everybody up.
Always, every actor does it. If they say they didn't, they're not. And humbly speaking, whoever you are, you have to feel you're the best of the bunch. If you don't feel you're the best, then why are you in the room?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Same thing in the athletic world, sports world.
You've got to feel that way.
You step onto the field, you're the best. In your mind, you are the best.
So you're sizing and you're looking around and you're looking at other people that are going for the same. Now it's down to like the last group of people. And I'll never forget, I was so like enamored by this director, and I went to the bathroom, and who opens up the door? He was seeing people, and he comes out, and he's right next to me in the bathroom, and I go, "Mr. Ramis, it's an honor. I'm honored to just even be next to you." He goes, "I seen your tape." He goes, "I seen some of your work." He goes, "You're doing your thing yourself," and it just kind of made me feel like all of that like tension, kind of like
I'm a fucking man over here, baby.
It was like, and I always say it, guys. It's like there was those days, and like you guys have people sitting in the seat you never thought you would be sitting in the seat. Were you 100%.
Right? Yeah, 100%.
You're sitting down.
You guys right now.
Okay?
It's like,
and there's other people, and there's a lot of people. You're sitting down, and like your dream is happening. It's like we just went recently. We were backstage with Billy Joel, and his people are big fans of our show, and they're gonna have some music from like. And I'm standing next to Billy Joel talking about my show and how they all love the show, and it's like these things like. You gotta like believe it can be, and it can happen.
Yeah, 100%.
If you like really believe it can really happen. And when it happens, you're almost like you're proud and you're happy, but you're like you feel like wow, like this is like these people. I'm hanging out with Shaquille O'Neal. You know what I'm saying? I'm with people that like I looked up to and seen Darryl Strawberry and Ralph Macchio at my premiere and all these people, like people that I looked up my whole life. It's just it's
wild,
really
right?
and it's humbling, and you just got to always remember that how grateful you are that you're there. You can't ever forget that, and you can never be like, oh, I'm the greatest. Oh, I'm this. You got to always stay like, and you always got to stay hungry.
Of course.
And just be,
I agree.
And be grateful that you're talking to these people, and then you have them in your phone number. I'm texting John Travolta, and I'm working with a John Travolta who I brought back to Brooklyn in front. Like that's another like thing I'm going to talk about. How this feeling was is that I'm a kid and I love Saturday Night Fever. It's my favorite movie. I'm from Brooklyn, and Saturday Night Fever to me was the best movie ever made. And then I get a part. Co-starring with John Travolta in the movie, and then we decide we're doing an event, and it's in front of the pizzeria that John Travolta walked with the paint can, and we shut down 86th Street, and me and John Travolta are on stage in front of 10,000 people in my neighborhood, and John Travolta's standing next to me.
You're you're living a dream.
It's like yes, and it's a blessing, and it's just keep, and then it could be someone else, and it could be someone else, and it's just. just experiences of your life. And that's what I'm saying is that if you retreat and you say, you know what, this is too hard, it ain't working out, I ain't paying the rent, I gotta get a job, I gotta do this, I need stability. It's almost impossible to have stability as an artist. It's almost impossible. 2% of artists have stability. 2%, my friend, have stability. Just enough to pay their normal bills.
It's hard.
You know what I'm saying? But you have to keep the mindset that you can do that. And that's why when I set out to do this show, I really believed it could go. And you know, when my son and I, when we walked into Creative Artist Agency, CAA, which is the biggest agency, and when we had a meeting with these people, we're walking into a place that represents Oliver Stone and Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio and like the biggest of the biggest that they ever, the top people in their craft. And you're walking into a building like that, you're like
surreal for sure.
You're living a dream.
It's all worth it.
The point of this is can happen for people. Like if you have to believe and do it, and just don't get discouraged and go. You know, that's the whole point. And I run into a lot of younger actors that are struggling and stuff, and I say, guys, you know, go, just keep at it. Don't worry about it. Just keep at it. You know, and it's not for everybody. It isn't, because it's a tough life too. I remember one time Joe Pesci. They interviewed Joe Pesci once, and they said about you being an actor. What could you? And he said, don't do it, because it's like it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, and that's why a lot of times I always say I give credit to those people that live in small towns, like in the middle of Idaho or the middle of Midwest, or in like farms. They live on a farm and they just wanted to do something, and they get on a plane and they move to New York City, and they live with 3 people in a walk-up apartment, and they're getting on the train, and they're going to work in a bar, doing shit they can't stand, and having people telling them stuff, and they're waiting tables, but they're there.
They're making it happen.
They came and they did it. You know, Denzel Washington probably went to California. He wasn't, and it happened, right? You know what I'm saying? It's
making it happen. You're making it happen.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I love Pretty Woman, because at the end of the movie,
watched
it's
that the
like,
other
you know
day.
what I'm saying? It's like
it's a great
the
movie.
dream. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to, if you want it, you got to go for it.
It's like you had said. There's no plan B, right? It's figure out a way to make plan A work. And you had said, listen, it's gonna be hard. Like, it's not easy. Anything worth having is not easy. It's gonna come hard, right? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But the question is, what type of hard do you want, right? I read something that said, being rich is hard, right? But being poor is also hard. Which type of hard do you want, right? Being in good shape is hard. Being in bad shape is also hard. Which type of hard do you want? Okay?
100%.
So it's like, it's going to be hard either way. And what you had said, it's a small percentage that you're going to, but if you don't go, it's an automatic 0, and it's going to be hard. So it's like, do you want to have no success and have life be very difficult, or do you want to have the hard way and life be super successful? Like, it's hard either way. Pick your hard. Okay, life's tough. It's not easy.
Get a helmet.
Okay,
No,
just figure it out. Do it if you want it. Keep going after it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. You just keep going one step at a time. Keep at it. Keep at it. Keep at it, and eventually, it's like a mathematical certainty that if you just keep trying, that you'll eventually get it. It will happen. If you don't quit and you don't give up, eventually it'll happen. Exactly. It may not happen today, may not happen tomorrow, may not happen in 10 years, but eventually it's gonna happen.
See why I make it my partner?
No, it's great. No, you guys have great energy.
It's like,
I'm feeling the energy in this room.
Even
completely.
with season 2, right? When we finished season 1,
I'm just gonna slide this way.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There you
And
go.
me and him were talking about doing season 2 without a network backing it financially, putting up the money for it. It's like you got to shoot 9 episodes, raise the financing, make sure, you know, we got all these actors that were interested in it from the release of season 1, but such a not an easy thing to do. You know, it was hard. And at the end of it, to go to the premiere and then see that we're showing the 2 shows, and that the next day those 9 episodes are going to be available on Amazon Prime. It's crazy. You like pinch yourself thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the feeling like for you when you guys finished, season 1, finished season 2? What was the feeling like for you? Because, you're obviously not in the business as long as your father is. And this is like the beginning of your career, right?
To be honest with you, so I wasn't in season 1 at all. I was working in the background,
well, you were
helping
working
with
in the
producing.
background, so,
and I also would help with some of the directing. So he's on camera a lot. He's the main character. So, like I said earlier, I knew all the scripts. Me and him know the story better than anyone else. So I would always watch his back in season 1 and make sure everything looked good. But then when we finished with season 1, I remember like just me and him talking about it, and he was saying, we got to do season 2. Everyone's asking for season 2, and all these actors are reaching out to me, and I'm like, you sure you really want to take on that? You want to take this on? Because it's not like HBO is writing the check.
Yeah.
Do you really want to do this? Because you know that it's not
going to be harder than the first.
It's going to be hard. It's
yeah.
getting a lot harder. The first season was only 4 episodes. The second season's 9 episodes.
More.
Yeah, but way longer
more
episodes. And to take on something like that,
What did he say to you as soon as you said that? Were you like,
He
are you
said
sure
that-
you want to do that?
he said, we got to make it happen.
No hesitation.
We got to
right?
make it happen.
And
No
you know,
hesitation. And that's when you know that you got a true, like you had said something before. You said, listen, if you truly, truly believe that what you're doing is going to be a success and it's going to work out, that's the first step. You truly have to believe that what you're doing is going to work out, and then you'll make it happen. So when you say that to him, saying, are you sure you want to do this? And without hesitation, he goes, yeah, we're doing
exactly.
it. The guy believes, like with every fiber in his being, that there's no way that this is not going to work out.
And to his point, he saw, and I saw it as well, but he saw it especially his life. He saw the change after season 1. You know what I'm saying? Even the social media following, how people are gravitating towards it. And that's also incentive. It's like, this is working. This is working. Eventually, it's worth it now, but eventually it's really going to be worth it.
So after you guys finished season 2, what was that? Right, because you had said season 1, right? You had 4 episodes. Season 2, you have 9 episodes, and you knew, like, listen, this is going to be harder than much harder than the first
and making
one.
season 2 was not easy by end. It was not
insane.
easy at all. I mean, there were times where it's like, and the amount of stress that was there. It was
the thing I want to stress too is that when you're dealing with people that can help you financially, and people that have wealth, and people that can back you with any business it is, no matter what it is, and there's a lot of people that people have helped and made them go to places. People have invested in people, and people have done stuff with people and stepped up. If you look at someone and you talk to them, and whenever I've talked to people through all these years and I've made deals work, is that I always had a passion, and I always believed in what I could do, and I always believed it could be successful. And I think that when you are around people that have success and they see it in you, and they know if they're going to roll with you, they could see, I'm going to take a chance with this person. And another thing is, I'm grateful for the people that believed in us. There's a lot of people that believed in us and helped us get to this point. And I cannot say more how grateful I am to those people that actually said, you know what, I'm with you. I'm with you. And even the actors that said I'm with you, like a Chaz Palminteri.
and the crew.
Like people that are with you, and I'm rolling with you. If you got people that are rolling with you and you're a team, you can't be beat. If you have good people, and that's why I love my cast. And I know I missed some names. I just want to say, my boy Paul Borghese and like Vinny Pastore and all these guys, that all these people that we bonded and they roll with you. You know what? I believe that we're going to do it. I say something else is that none of my actors phoned it in. These guys have been in some major movies. None of them came and said, you know what? Chaz Palminteri, Academy Award nominee, came to play. Chaz Palminteri don't come to set and just like he came. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These Fran Drescher came. They came ready to roll. They saw
I imagine everybody that was backing you and all these actors, they saw the passion that you had when you're telling them, listen, this is my vision, this is what I believe. They could feel that. And you can certainly feel that when somebody's bullshitting you or when somebody's truly passionate about what they're speaking about. It's a different type of energy.
Exactly.
And when you feel that, you're like, okay, now this person means business. I'm going to go with this person. It could be two separate people, and this person's kind of like maybe has, quote, by standards, the better idea maybe, but the one person's extremely passionate about it. You're like, I'm going to go with the passionate person.
I talk about my friend Steve Manorano, Cafe Manorano's, the restaurant in Fort Lauderdale that he first started. Here's a guy from Philadelphia. He's in our cast. I love this man. He's in our cast, and he started off selling sandwiches out of his house. He just started selling sandwiches out of his house. He was a DJ, and he kind of put he became, I don't know if you guys ever been there, but the place is insane. He started off with like selling sandwiches out of his house in Philadelphia. I had no money. He went to Florida.
Out of his house, making them in his own kitchen.
Making like sandwiches. Like he was selling like sandwiches.
That's the hustle
Like
right
you
there.
were saying, knocking on people's doors.
Hey, you want to buy my sandwich?
Yeah.
He went to Fort Lauderdale. He was a DJ. He put this concept together, DJing and music and his food. And he's
DJing and sandwiches.
off the charts. He has places all over the place. His place in Florida, you can't get seats. It started with a little place. Now you can't get a table in there.
See, now think,
you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying about a guy. These are the people you look up to, people that do it. That's another guy, and I'm so glad I have him in my cast.
Now think about this, right? DJ and sandwiches. If you were a bank and somebody came into you and said, hey, listen, I got a great idea for business. I'm going to be a DJ that sells sandwiches. The bank would be like, you're fucking crazy. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. But this guy said, you know what? Fuck you. I have the idea. This is what I'm doing. And goes down and has a enormous successful business being a DJ who sells sandwiches.
Bro,
I don't know anyone else who does that.
Anything that you think of is possible. I mean,
he's an institution. He became an institution, and the man still works around the clock.
That's incredible.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the people you kind of, it's like Chaz Palminteri's one-man show. He made it into a movie. It started off from one-man show.
One day, Robert De Niro was.
One day, Robert.
Well, I mean, how wild is that, right? Your first movie ever, you're with Chaz Palminteri, right?
Yeah.
Now you're hiring him in your own show. Like that's like full circle right
wild,
there, my man. Like that's
wild.
That's something crazy to think about. I'm sure you sometimes lay in bed, you're like, God damn, that's fucking crazy.
That's like we had. I don't know if you guys are football fans, but we had a gentleman by the name of Ed Reed on the show.
Of course.
He's a Steeler fan, so I'm sure he knows.
Yeah, we had
Ed Reed.
He was
Ed Reed.
He was like the first like football player that we had on the show, and I remember him coming on. He was just. He gets on the Zoom because he was down in Alabama somewhere. I think he was at his mother's house. But he gets on the show and he's like, hey, what's going on, guys? Eric, Justin, I love you guys. I follow your show. You guys are great. And we're sitting there. And after, like, we're having a great conversation. The show goes very well. And at the end, Eric and I sit and I go, dude, I grew up watching this guy on TV. And now he's on the show. Just like Eric said, he goes, I was watching you yesterday on TV, and now you're sitting here. Both, it's like
a funny story about that show.
It's so surreal when things like that just start falling into place.
And they'll keep happening.
And in the beginning,
keep happening.
and I'll tell you, in the beginning, we say this all the time. The first episode that we ever put out was absolute trash. It was awful. It was. There was none of this, right? There was no microphones. We were using an iPhone 6 as a camera, and it was terrible, right? But you keep doing it. We kept doing another episode, and then things started falling into place. Next thing you know, we got guys like you on our show. We had Eric Coleman on our show. We have Ed Reed on our show. We have Harlem Globetrotters. We had John Starks. We were talking about him dunking on Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting there like, what the heck is going on?
I have that Nick jersey.
We have that.
We got that. Number 3, baby, and I have that poster
right here.
I have that poster
right there. It's his cigars.
I still have the poster.
I have the poster, and we got him to sign it.
This is what it used to look like.
It's just.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And things just start falling into place, and you're sitting there like, holy
You deserve it.
Like,
you guys both deserve it. You put your hard work in. You're good guys. You do it. You have
thank
passion.
you very much, man.
You're it's all positive, and that's what about. It's the same thing with, like, I'm friends with Lee Mazzilli, we're talking about being in season 3 too. Who was a baseball player from my neighborhood. Who I grew up. He's a Italian baseball player from Brooklyn who went to Lincoln High School and now I'm talking to him on the phone. Like I was a big Met fan growing up, and I have Lee Mazzilli. I'm hanging out with Lee Mazzilli. You know what I'm saying? It's like things like that. You know, it's just
wild.
Yeah,
it's a dream come true.
It's just and you just keep going and just every day we do more and get more people and keep going. That's what it's all about.
So tell us what the.
Hold on, before you go there, I wanted to ask one thing.
Okay.
Because we haven't talked about it once. I watched Gravesend. It seemed like every scene you were smoking cigars. I'm like, these guys are smoking Perdomos all day, every day.
Love it.
Why do you guys like cigars? How'd you guys get into
that's
cigars?
a good. Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Because everyone's introduction to cigars is always different. I've heard a million different stories. I don't think I really heard any of the same stories. But I want to know, how you guys got into it.
So the first time I ever smoked a cigar was actually when we were in Cincinnati, Ohio, shooting the Gotti movie. I was like, I don't even know how old I was. I was like 19 years old, and John Gotti, the son, he would go to this place, and he always had a cigar in his hand, and we met some great people down there. And I said, I'm gonna try one, and then but I didn't really do it a lot, and then I met Big Time Tommy.
Oh boy, you're in trouble. There you go.
Then I met Big Time Tommy, and he introduced me to Asylum, and that's a great cigar.
Do you remember what the first cigar you had was when you were in Cincinnati?
I don't remember. I think it was like a private, like not so well known label. I can't even remember it right now.
Did you cough up a lung smoking the first one? A lot of people do. If you're not used to it,
I didn't.
You start inhaling.
I started very easy.
The funny thing about the John Gotti movie, I actually went to see the John Gotti movie in the theaters. I actually went by myself, and at the time, my wife was in grad school, and she lived in Glenhead, and I was going to see her on Long Island, and I just watched the movie. I just was at the movie maybe a couple days or a week ago, and I'm at the stoplight, and who do I see at the stoplight next to me? John Gotti Jr. I'm like, the fuck is going? I was like, I thought like I was in a dream. I'm like, I just watched this movie and I'm at the stoplight in Nassau County in Long Island, and he's right there next to me. I think he was like in a Ranger.
John.
He goes to one of our local lounges. He's been in there a few times.
His son's a great fighter too. We support his son completely. We're pro Gotti. We're nothing but love for the Gotti family, and his son's a really good fighter. We hope. I think he's gonna fight Mayweather again.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So.
Oh wow.
We were at the fight, the first
Mayweather.
fight.
So Mayweather's going to come out of retirement. He's going to fight.
Well, they fought in the celebrity. They already had a fight. They had a fight. It was a celebrity,
like an exhibition thing.
Yeah, it was a celebrity. He's
going to do it again.
They did that in Florida. It looks like they're going to have a rematch, and we always support him. But for me, with the cigars, is that like it's a show. It's a mob element to a show. You gotta have cigars in there. You gotta have.
That's how I got it. That's one reason why I got the cigars.
You know what it is for me is that they're so easy to want to do all the time. I pick and choose. Personally, I don't smoke them a lot, but like occasions and like there's nothing like when you wrap up a deal, you do something.
Special occasion.
Something you have a kid, something big happens. A cigar is like, it's kind of like a positive thing in your life, you know what I'm saying?
Celebratory stuff.
And that's what I love being around cigar lounges too, because everyone's cool talking. It's a great conversation. That brings you back to the old school. Like Tommy always says, what's for life, is that what's great about cigars is it brings this together. When you were in cigar lounges, the phone, a lot of times the phone isn't on the table. You're not looking at the phone.
Life,
you're sitting down, and that's what I love about cigar lounge, because it's usually a bunch of old school guys sitting around talking. Sharing a cigar.
Anything.
Talking about life.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's the whole idea.
That's what's so great about cigars.
Best, man.
That's what we did with the whole premise. What's that?
You got the sweater behind you? Show what it says on the back of the sweater.
Oh yeah. So like the whole idea with the burn down was when we were first coming up, but we said, listen, when you go into a lounge, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you believe in, you sit down in a cigar lounge, you're gonna have a great conversation. Exactly. You could have a guy who shines shoes for a living. You can have a guy who is
blue collar construction
guy. The next fucking Elon Musk, okay? Exactly. And you guys are going to have a great conversation.
Exactly.
So we said, why can't we bring that to the internet? Because if you're in a lounge, you're limited to whoever comes into the lounge to have a conversation. But on the internet, it's unlimited. You can have a conversation with anybody. So we came out with these sweaters, and on the back it says, let me see if I pull it up. But like the whole idea is, it says bringing people together one cigar at a time. Right, and that's what we do here. Is
I love it.
Every cigar, you sit down, let's have a cigar, let's talk.
Do you mind, guys, if I'm dying to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I don't mean to break this up. Can I just use the restroom real quick? I know we're near the end, but
of course.
I'm sorry to break up.
You can go outside here if you want.
Go do your thing.
I don't care.
You don't mind if I just go like right?
Go right there. That's where
Bro,
we
do it
go.
all the time. Do what you got to do. We'll interrogate Cristian over here.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, don't even worry about it. That's our bathroom is right there.
Yeah. It happens. I know sometimes podcasts I go too long and people are like, I gotta go. I'm
It was a long drive, and I made sure to go before.
Well, we're coming up to the end anyway. It's like a minute and hour and 38, but we'll
I feel like it's been longer.
flying by.
Damn,
it's flying by.
It's been going good.
So let me ask. So now you're okay. So like I said, you're starting you're early on in your career of acting, of directing, and producing. You're kind of following in your father's footsteps. Where do you see like yourself in the next like 10, 15, 20 years? Do you want to like be a sole director, like direct your own show? Do you want to be? Are you trying to get into some movies? Like, what's your?
I mean, so I have a really good agent. I mean, for me, not the biggest of agencies, but it's pretty good for they have an office in L.A., New York, and Georgia. So I mean, I think the goal is to kind of pick up the mantle, afterwards and expand and start doing my own stuff. But I want to wait for the right time to get into the whole production side of things, like me just me individually. But as far as the acting is concerned, I definitely I want to do different roles. It was great because we just did something that was very different. We did something with Tony Darrow called it's like this jailhouse beef jerky thing, and we got to play Indians and
oh yeah,
I've
seen you dressed up like that. Yeah.
The accents, and I just want to do different things, and I hope that I really don't want to touch on the mob thing after the show, a little here and there, but
try to break out a little bit and do something.
Yeah.
Now,
different.
do you have a? Now, I'm ashamed to say this. I haven't seen the seasons yet, and I will. But do you have a role in season 2 or season 3? You said you didn't have one in season 1.
I didn't have one in season 1.
Yeah, bro. He's killing drug dealers and shit. He's killing them all.
I love it. I can't, dude. I can't wait to watch it. I would be like, listen, honey, I don't care what we're not watching.
So
this chick flick tonight. We're watching fucking Gravesend. Okay.
In season 2, I play Leo Rossi's nephew, and I'm not related to my father at all in the show. We actually share a few scenes together. But
so let me pause you there. How was that? You're sharing a scene with your father.
It was.
Is that not cool, man? Is that not really cool?
It was very cool, and it was what was great about it was we were playing individuals that were not related at all. So
did you get to yell at him at all?
No, it wouldn't be good for Sammy to be yelling at him. But it was definitely a special moment, and I think for me, it's like it's something that'll always be there. 10 years from now, 15, 20, I'll always be able to turn on the television, and God willing, I have children in the future and show them.
That was my first acting gig.
Yeah,
it was right there with your grandfather. You see, that was my first time.
Yeah, well, there's a great scene where I want you to watch the show. I don't want to get too into it. I don't want to ruin it for you, but where we share a moment, and it's a really good scene. I don't know if you saw it, the one in the bar.
Of course.
It's just something that it was very special.
Is it emotional?
It was a little bit emotional, but it was more like him being schooled, and it was special. It was very special because we did share other scenes, but that one scene was very, very impactful, and it'll always be there.
So when you guys said cut and the scene was over, you kind of just take a second and take it all in, like that just happened. Like that was a moment right there.
Absolutely. And in the first season when we finished, because I wasn't in the first season. We had the film clapper, the thing that you smack in between the scenes. And
you gotta have one of those.
We took a picture on the first day and on the last day, and we did the same thing with the second season. It's like at the end of it all, at the end of the season, we just like looked at each other and just, you can't even believe that we did it.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot of hard work, but it's done.
But it's worth it.
It's done. It's worth it. And now we're going on to season 3.
You know what it is, guys, is that when you make a movie, it's a commitment for a few months. You finish it, it's done, you start editing, you make the music. When you're doing a show, it is a commitment. Like, it is
Long
from
process.
day one to the last day, to editing, to finalization. It's a journey. It is a journey that you can't even imagine you're going on. It is, especially when you're doing something independently, and you know there's no margin for error on set. If it rains one day, you may be screwed. You're on a limited amount of money to do it. It's a journey. It's like every day, like we got there's one page, there's another page, but you're talking about a lot of content.
And the whole post-production process is crazy. Like, when you're done with it,
a lot of content.
Shooting, and you have to, we're in the studio and you're getting all the music together, doing all the color correction, the sound mixing, and making sure that all these scenes are really tight, because you're watching it every day. You're in the studio watching it and making sure, like, is this the best version? Is this it? And always tweaking it, and it just.
Do you ever have to, like, take a step back? Like, you've done some of the post, right? You've got it. You say, okay, I think this is it. Then you take a step back, let it sit for a little while. You step away from it, and then come back. You're like, wait a second, I got to redo this a little bit. Do you ever take those moments?
That happens. That definitely happens.
Because I find it sometimes, if you're looking at something too long, you're really,
messes with your mind.
you're really
definitely
deep into it. You have to take a step back and say,
sure.
okay, hold on,
You're right.
You're
right, but sometimes, and a lot of times, it's usually right the first time, and sometimes when you toy with something, you make it worse.
You
a lot of times,
yeah.
A lot of times, you know what it is, even with actors, a lot of times, and I notice it on auditions and stuff like that when I'm watching auditions, and a lot of times when I'm seeing it on set, is a lot of times people get the first take the best, and they want to keep doing it, and a lot of times it's the first one was great. And that's why a lot of times I'm like, we'll move on. We'll get a second one just to have it. Well, you did it.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep doing it.
And I think that some people, it's almost like, comes to the point where they go, it can't be that easy. And I don't want to say it's easy, but you said you hit it you nailed it the first time, and you're like, no, it can't be. I can't do first. Like, there's got to be more.
Sometimes when we
it's got to be more.
These videos, like we do like little like reels and like little shorts and stuff like that. And we're like, all right, we want to place the cigar box here. We want to do like this cool little angle, and you're gonna be over here smoking a cigar, and we do it. And me or him are recording, and he's just like, yo, that was it. We don't gotta do anything more. That was the perfect
and it's
shot.
like it can't be that easy. We just do it first try. It's like, no, you got it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
Exactly.
Keep it simple. You nailed it. Done.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
And another thing is that I've seen the greatest. I've worked with the greatest and seen them make mistakes. I've seen them flub lines. I've seen them mess up. I've seen it. So everyone's human.
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes I've seen the greatest actors of our time make mistakes and flub lines and lose lines. Ask for a line. It's normal.
Look at videos of bloopers, right? Look at some of your favorite movies and just type in like your favorite movie and bloopers. And there's tons of it. There's tons of them saying like, shit, what's the line? And they'll go 5, 6, 7 takes. Like, line, what's the line again? And they're the greats. They're the legends.
Chris Tucker.
They fuck everybody
Rush
fucks
Hour
up.
bloopers are the best.
Something happened. Nobody's perfect.
And the thing with Cristian, and that's I have to say, is that, I'm using my son and I told him that you're going to get the most criticism is going to go towards him because he's my son and he has a role. And I told him before he started, I said, they're going to want to find something to knock you on. And I have to say this, and I've heard it all across the board. He delivered. I've heard it, and I have gotten nothing but love from big people that he really came through. And I haven't gotten no negativity on him at all. And I have to say, he really took it very seriously. He didn't just say, "Oh, I'm the son," and he came and he works and he takes direction and he comes prepared and he gives it his all. It's not like, oh, and that's what I also have to say this. Now that we're on this, I hired Chaz Palminteri's daughter, who was the best on the audition. It didn't just happen because she was Chaz's daughter, Gabriella. She gave the best audition. She fit the part. She didn't come on set like I'm Chaz's daughter, I get special treatment. She came there like a young actress, hungry actress, not entitled. That's a reflection on Chaz, and it's also a reflection on how she came there and was not. And then I used Ralph Macchio's daughter, Julia Macchio. Same thing. I'm not Ralph Macchio's kid. I'm Julia.
Yeah, I'm my
here.
own person, and I'm here
my
to
own
work.
person.
Yeah,
I'm here. They didn't come entitled, and it's a real reflection of people that just they didn't let it get to their heads, and they came and they did it. And that's what I have to say. I'm very blessed and grateful to have this cast and to be able to work with my son and for him to deliver like he has.
that's probably a very proud moment as a father to hear all of those things.
I hear it all the time, and it's I every day I hear it, and he's humble about it, and it's just I get really good accolades on him, and we can't wait to get into season 3 and to bring this. We're gonna bring it to another level. Even we're gonna.
And when
bring
do you
it to
start
another
shooting
level.
season 3? You said June.
Around June. Yeah, we're gonna.
You have everything written out and all the actors and everything.
We're getting there.
Close.
We're putting in all the work in now and getting in. There's going to be some big surprises with some great new people.
Can't wait.
I like it. I love it. I love it. Well, if you need any two podcasting cigar guys, you got 2 guys right here.
Yeah, if you guys need the background, hey, how you doing? Yeah, we'll pass it by.
You guys are. I'm really, really happy.
And I appreciate you coming on because
Yes,
when you called me, you're like, listen, I don't do many podcasts, but I like what you do, and I want to come on yours.
And guys, I mean that, and I'm saying this humbly again. I get a lot of offers to do stuff like this, a lot, and it's nothing against other people. I have to feel a certain. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest, I have to feel a certain way about who I'm going on with, and how I think it's going to turn out, and I'm very picky at them, and I'm very glad I came.
Well, we're very grateful for you.
I'm glad you guys asked me, and I'm very happy that I came. It's been an amazing experience.
Thank you.
You guys are really, sky's the limit for both of you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. We are very, very grateful that you guys came. You made the trek out here. We're very grateful that you're on our show. We've had a wonderful conversation with you guys, and we wish you all the best with season 3. I can't wait to watch season 1 and season 2. And I'm going to be finishing season 2 and be like, all right, you gotta push up that line. I can't wait for June. You got to push it up. You got to push it up.
You're going to like it, I'm telling you.
But no, we're very blessed that we have the opportunity to be able to speak with individuals like yourselves in smoking cigars and just doing what we love to do. We love to smoke cigars. We love to talk to people. And now we get to do it here at the Burn Down Podcast. So thank you very much for those kind words. But Eric, it's been an hour and 50 minutes.
God damn.
Jeez.
Wow, so long.
It's a nice episode. But see, this is the beautiful thing. You light up a cigar. You guys have your cups of tea. We have a cup of coffee here, and we're just shooting the shit. And next thing you know, 2 hours goes by like that. Like, holy shit, it's 2 hours.
You don't even realize it.
So, I mean, we're coming to the end. So this is kind of where we like to give you guys the red carpet. So if you want to let everybody know who's listening and who's watching where they can find you guys, what's the next big thing, when they can, where can they see Gravesend if they want to go watch it, when the next season's coming out, if you guys have any other projects that you're working on behind the scenes you'd like to talk about, it's kind of your opportunity to plug away and let everybody know what they can expect.
My Instagram is Cristian, Cristian _DeMeo. And you could find me on Facebook, Chris DeMeo. And do you want to talk about?
Go ahead, you do it. Go ahead.
About Gravesend?
Talk about whatever you want, and then I'll follow up. You take it. Take the lead. Go ahead.
So if you want to watch Gravesend on Amazon, it's on Amazon Prime, and it actually just went on Tubi for all the people that are in Canada.
The heck is Tubi?
Nah, I watched Tubi, bro. I have been watching Tubi for months.
I'm on Amazon Prime, man.
I came across Tubi and I was like, "What?" I'm like, "There's a lot of good shit on here, and it's for free." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And my was like, "What's Tubi?" But I've been watching season 2 again. Now it's on Tubi.
And there's 4 episodes, season 1, 9 on season 2, right?
Yeah, 4 episodes, season 1, 9 on season 2.
How long are the episodes? Like an hour long?
The first season they're like 30 minutes, right? And then the second season they're a little bit longer, like 45.
Okay.
Like around that area.
So you can watch them all in a day. You can watch the whole thing in a day.
You can watch everything.
Yeah,
in one
depending.
day.
That's 13. That's 13 hours.
Yeah,
A little bit less.
get some popcorn on Saturday.
There you
and
go,
call it a
man.
day.
All you need is a rainy day, and you're good, man.
Yeah, and so you could binge watch. A lot of people binge watch the whole. A lot of that's what I love when people tell me I binged it.
Yeah.
I binged it. I couldn't get. I had to keep going. Yeah, Amazon Prime and Tubi. Now we're on Tubi, and now it's going overseas into other countries. It's picking up more steam. It's funny how things sometimes, even later on, keep getting like The Sopranos. And people keep rewatching The Sopranos and stuff
still
like
going
that.
on today.
And people keep rewatching Gravesend, and more people are talking about it. We appreciate everyone's support. A lot of the fans are the reason why we keep moving and why we're building more of a cast in season 3. There's going to be some great new people coming on season 3, and you guys wait till you see what happens between Charlie and Caesar. As you guys know how we ended in the last episode.
Let's go.
You guys are going to be in for a wild ride
of
coming up in
anticipation.
season 3. I also want to mention that I appreciate all the fans, people that have been buying our clothing brand, Brooklyn brand.
That's right, my Brooklyn brand.
Yeah, it's www.mybrooklynbrand.com, and we have it's on Instagram, mybrooklynbrand.com. You could follow the Gravesend page on Instagram too, Gravesend Series. My William DeMeo, find me on Instagram, but. We appreciate all the people, and our velours are really, really keep moving. We appreciate everybody repping and being proud. We're grateful to you all. Thank you so much.
Well,
Christian
thank you
and
guys.
Will,
Yes.
God bless is the main thing. Thank you.
Yeah, God is good all the time.
God bless.
God is great.
Jesus,
Yes, He is.
That's it.
I did see that, by the way. On you have John 3:16 on your bio, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love it.
I have that.
Love
I
it.
have that same ring that you have on your pinky, but it definitely doesn't fit me anymore. I think I got it when I either my communion.
Cross ring is beautiful.
It's in my jewelry box, but it don't fit me no more.
Hey, I'm a firm believer, man. You put God first in everything that you do, and He'll lead you in the right direction.
Yes, He
Absolutely.
will. Amen.
Absolutely, Jesus.
Amen.
But thank you.
Well,
Good old wholesome Christian man. I love it.
That's it, man.
We need more of them in this world. God knows it.
But Christian and Will, thank you guys again for coming on. We really appreciate it. Gravesend has been an amazing show, so kudos to all you guys and all the hard work you guys been putting in. It's really good. I know you'll like it. And for people who are watching and listening, I highly recommend it. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have them on. I wouldn't say it. But thank you so much. And as we like to say on the end of the show, I don't have anything to cheers with.
I'll hold it up to the camera for everybody.
We like to
There
say
you go.
cheers, chin chin, and salute. Thank you, everybody.
God bless.